move into our third game. If Kiwi takes the third game, he wins the Evil Twins finals. So it's really Master has to turn it around now. He's doomed.
That was such a good game. That was really backwards and forwards, really entertaining to watch. I can't believe he pulled that off. I'm still in shock.
It was a much better game on Duat than I normally see on Duat. I think the map changes there look like they've made it a much more exciting map to play. You saw
good.
They were expanding all over the place in that centre. There was no one location that had to be held and turned the game. But so do you think Master can turn it around?
I feel like he's quite tired. And his aggressive plays cost him that game. The fact that his commander was low enough to be sniped was due to his own aggressive play earlier with the commander. I don't feel like the aggression with the commander is that powerful that it warrants putting yourself at risk like that.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, Kiwi really should probably have claimed victory a lot sooner in that game. Really. It was amazing that Master was still in the game at that point. But all credit to Master. I mean, he did an amazing job of turning that game around. He just completely won the ground game from having almost no ground game at all. He had tanks everywhere. Was crushing Kiwi. It was really impressive to see. It's just a shame that the last he just managed to let that snipe happen, and it wasn't like he wasn't trying to stop it either. He was right out the spinners. He moved out his air force. He did almost everything right, and then just wasn't quite enough. Now
let's find out if Kiwi can pull it off again.
So we're seeing already in the voting for match 3 that there's a heavy vote in favour now of Kiwi. 2/3 of the vote going to Kiwi. So last time I predicted that he wouldn't do very well on a naval map, and I think we've seen with the predictions thus far that I am completely full of it. So don't listen to me. Keep voting, people. Keep voting 2/3 again.
Let's see if Neptune decides to go into the sea again. It clearly worked out so well for him last time.
Yes. Yes, I'll be interested to see how they play this one out. And I suspect to see Kiwi making a play on the ground. I don't think he's going to rush the sea.
No.
I think he'll take the island. And I think, to be quite honest, based on Neptunia's performance last time, that Kiwi has a really good chance here. I thought Neptunia's player on Miso was weak. He gave up the Central Island way too easy. And to be quite honest, I think he should have lost. I'm absolutely gobsmacked still that Eladea GG'd that game.
He should have done that.
That was Eladea's game to win still.
Right, so here we are, 3 games into our best of 5 in the final of the Evil Twins tournament. We have got PAG Master versus Killer Kiwi. Killer Kiwi currently has 2 victories under his belt. Winning this match will win him the final and that grand prize of £50, which is about $80. And I am TheWrongCat, and we have got Quitch here with us as well from ExodusEsports.com.
Yes, we have. Hello, everybody. And second place claims a mighty prize of £20, which is approximately $33. So we go into game 3, where it's So
we're going to start off in true fashion with technical difficulties.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be complete without them. Thank God for built-in pause.
Is it paused? I haven't even spawned yet, so it doesn't even need to pause.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see in a minute what happens with that. But there's not a decision to be made with the spawn here. I think.
Yeah, but we'll pause the game as soon as it gets in, I think. Let's pause that. Let's just check if they're ready.
Okay, so with Killer Kiwi wins this game, he will have won all 3 of the he will have won all 3 of the final games and will claim the prize. Let's see if he can pull it off.
Right, so let's see what we're going for to start with here. Bot Factory coming from Killer Kiwi versus a Vehicle Factory from PA Master.
Yes, I think Yeah, so a bot factory indicates he's definitely going to be making a strong play for that. He's going to be he's going to be up in Master's face with those bots, trying to stop him expanding out too much. Master's going to probably take a more defensive posture if he's gone tanks. Usually that means you're going to slowly expand with your Fabber. Your tanks are going to escort the Fabber around the back. It just depends to see which way he expands, whether he's going to try and wall up across the centre, or he's going to do the long arch round the back of the island, escorted by a tank force. It'd be interesting to see. But I expect to see Kiwi just make a sweep around the back with his bots and try and kill off anything that's trying to expand around there.
We can see that Killer Kiwi has already got queued up one naval factory, so he is going to be at least looking to make some plays into the naval. And actually, we now see that Juno has done the same thing. I think his is actually probably earlier in the queue than Kiwi's, so it'll be interesting to see. We're not going to get to see that fantastic wiggling that we've seen so far, I don't think, not for a while at least. But we should have some docks on their way out soon for some true wiggling action. Combat Fabricators coming out from Killer Kiwi for some sweet, sweet trees.
Well, actually, oddly, I think Kiwi should have spawned close to the water if that was his plan to go for tree economy, because he'd have destroyed less of the trees in his spawn area. But
there are plenty of trees to go around, to be fair.
Yeah, but it means you have to wander further away from your easily defensible starting location of Commander. But we see a lot of bot factories queued up. He is going heavy on the docks in this game, whereas we see Master going for tanks on the front line, and he is going to claim those 3 mechs in the centre, and by the looks of it, turret and wall up.
I would be interested to see how effective a strategy it would be to go for a fairly early T2 bot factory, because the Slammers are a very versatile unit on this map.
I feel that these days the Slammer is going to be outclassed in the ocean. Now that there's got the Tier 1 Barracuda, I don't think the Slammer is going to hold their own in the way that they used to in the water. I would be very surprised to see any Slammers. I don't think we're going to see any Tier 2 bots on this map.
It was just a thought. I might try it next time I play on this map and lose horribly doing it.
I'm Quitch, Crusher of Dreams.
Yep.
We will also not be seeing a Planet Smash or a Hulkin Snipe.
Wait, Hulkin snipes have happened already in this tournament.
Yes, it has happened. That was the miracle. It's over now. It's not happening again. Unfortunately, the Hulkin Snipe did happen in the game we weren't watching. So sorry about that.
But my dreams.
I'm afraid that they are over now. Your tears feed me. But we see that Master is now already starting to lock down the centre here. Those investigatory bots from Kiwi getting shut down. Master's doing very good actually at using his skitter to get intelligence on what Kiwi's doing. He's much better on the ball about what's going on. As we saw when he played Adair on this map, that he didn't scout, he didn't know what was happening. He's doing much better this time.
The scouting, I think, to be honest, we have seen some fairly poor scouting for a lot of the games in this tournament. A lot of players tend to get very, very heavily involved with their military presence and perhaps neglect the intel, which helps them to actually build their armies more intelligently. They tend to go for the brute force approach. I see those boom bots you just pinged at me.
Yes, very early boom bots. Which is a surprise really, because the commanders often will go into the water early on. So I'm not sure if he's going for he's going to try and go for an early snipe, or if that's just because he thinks he can counter the tanks with boom bots, which with a mass factory is more than possible. They can do very well against. If he runs around the hills properly, he can do a lot of damage to tanks.
But let's see what potential targets could we have here. I mean, if he's going to do anything with these, he's going to do it very quickly. That's why he's built all these bot factories, so he can just pump out a load of boom bots. I'm not quite sure what he's hoping to do with it. I suppose he could just do a massive area attack and take out a load of metal. That's something that could happen. At the moment, actually, Kiwi is dragging his heels on the economy. I mean, the only thing that's keeping him going really is the trees reclaiming. He's miles behind Master on metal point claiming.
He's yes, Master is out in the sea. He's got a strong presence there. He slowly seems to be locking down the land. On the other hand, these turrets aren't going to be much use if those boombots come swarming, I have to say. So, but yeah, Kiwi does seem to be just ceding a lot of control. He's playing very passive, and he's really holding back. And Pierre Master is very much, Pegmaster is very much claiming his half of the island with turret defensive lines, walls. He's very much drawing a line down the centre of the apartment.
Meanwhile, we have a little bit of air confrontation over the water. Looks like the sustained approach being favoured by Kiwi is not the most effective. Those clumps of fighters seem to be much better at taking out other fighters than the odd one here or there. Who would have thought?
I see Master doing a little fighter micro there, which I'm told is harder in this patch, where you try and rotate your fighter forces so that you spread the damage out across the group rather than losing individual units.
And Killer Kiwi sends out a single lone boom bot to go and destroy a wayward skitter that was just sat idle near his base. Now here we go, here come the booms. They're going to go and try and take out those ants.
Those bolos, yes.
I mean, yes, bolos, that's what I meant to say. I definitely meant to say that.
And you see there just how effective booms are against tanks. They are so cost effective, especially if in situations like that the bolos turrets are facing the wrong way and he lost all those bolos for a single mechs. That was a really good trade for Kiwi there. And he's going to need trades like that because he's lagging a little behind, but his tree economy working out well for him. I mean, it's he's keeping up with tree economy. He's running just about as many factories as Master is. So despite the fact it looks like he's behind, he's actually pulling
ahead. He's pulling ahead in the eco. He's caught up. He was behind by about 30. He's now only a single mech behind, and now he's just caught up to pull it even Stevens.
No, absolutely. And unfortunately he hasn't queued up anything more for his combat fabber, which he needs to do to really just keep pulling ahead. But he does seem to love patrolling his fighters, though. He really does love patrolling his fighters over his base. It makes me nervous. They seem like they're really easy targets to pick off and allow Master to take the air.
We have another force of bolos coming through here, and once Kiwi twigs what they're up to, I have a funny feeling that he's going to send that force of boombots down to go and clean them up again.
Right, he's going to need to bring his fighters over, though, because booms are effectively blind. They need something to see for them.
And he's doing exactly that, taking the fighters over to get the vision, and then the booms.
But this will be less favourable because
he's actually wiggling his booms. He's wiggling the booms. My goodness.
Some docks there. Oh, but it's still trading all right. But the tanks were heading away, which makes it a less favourable confrontation. And we see that he's still got enough troops to push forward. And indeed, we see now that Master's put up a bot factory. To counter the booms, because docks are a perfect counter to booms. They take them apart, no problem.
Let's have a little look at what's happening on the naval section of the map. Kiwi has actually done some very, very, very strong expansion. He's gone all the way around to here. He's taken every mech point on the way. He's now claiming that island all for himself. He's got an air fabricator backed up by a naval fabricator, so he's got this very well locked down. Meanwhile, as far as Neptune is concerned, this is about the extent of his expansion. These single solitary naval factory over here, which is producing fabricating ships to try and get him, but he's behind here.
Obviously, Master making an aggressive push now into Kiwi's base. There's a bunch of mines there, but he doesn't have to go close enough to the mines to start picking off these factories. So it's already looking like he's going to reverse around his game with that there, and he's going to push Kiwi off the land. Kiwi has made what I think are some rather odd decisions in terms of how he's going to fight this land game. Going with a lot of booms, but it's a very passive play that just ceded most of this island straight to Master.
Those mines are brutal, though.
Oh, absolutely! But because he's doing in lines, and Master's got so many troops, he just doesn't care. He's punching through.
He's done it. He's done it.
Yeah, there's. I think we're going to see Kiwi off the land, but even so, Kiwi doing strong with the economy because Master has not scouted most of this expansion. He does not realise the extent of Kiwi's base. He's starting to get out there now, and really should be picking off that Fabber, which is going to die in a second when it staggers into guard range. There we go.
I feel like the real vulnerability here is actually Kiwi's energy production, because that's going to get whittled down by these land units. That is all of his energy right there. He's building more in the sea now that he knows he's about to lose it, but in the meantime he's going to struggle for energy, I think.
Yes, absolutely, that's very vulnerable, and Master's going to start bringing in his troops. I think we're going to see these orcas try and support, but he needs to turn those orcas on their side so he can bring all the guns to bear. We see Master starting to build up his own strong naval presence in the centre here, and indeed a larger naval presence than Kiwi has. So, despite Kiwi's eco, is starting to look in trouble. He's going to have to start really compensating with that economy to come back into this.
It looks like Kiwi is actually using a lot of his eco for investing in structures at the moment, rather than in units, which is leading to these less than favourable confrontations around the map. He needs to really divert some more of that economy back towards military use rather than economy and infrastructure use.
Yeah, indeed. We see it's slightly behind. It's slightly bigger ahead in units now, but behind in factories. And his expansion could be quite vulnerable to being picked off. And indeed, we see that Master is indeed setting up his own little proxy bases around the back here. So we're going to start seeing some proxy-based trading, I think, as they both bring their narwhals to bear.
But Kiwi still has a significant amount of stuff on the land, surprisingly. They've not pushed through as robustly as I thought they would have done.
Yes, I think he was obviously scared off by the ships, but to be quite honest, I think he could have finished off their air factory for one. So yes, he's retreating back, regrouping, and getting ready to make another push. But it'd be good if he could claim the land, because then he can shut down those factories and really just, and because he's already stalling pretty hard, and then just focus on getting his navy out.
Having invested all of that in energy in the sea, Kiwi is actually floating his energy pretty hard now, so he's not actually going to be all that concerned about that stuff on the land dying. So he's in a fairly strong position economy-wise, really. He's done well for himself. We've got a little trade happening out here.
I think we've seen once again that despite one person has given up the island relatively easy, they've done so while expanding rapidly out into the ocean, and it's ended up with a fairly even situation. And we see there the huge advantage that orcas have in naval battles. Narwhals just no match for them.
Absolutely not. That's quite brutal, actually. That trade.
Yeah, if your opponent's going to have orcas, then you really want to bring in some barracudas into the raid. And surprisingly, barracudas haven't been a big part of anyone's force, really. Seem to be people sticking very heavily with their narwhal orca combinations, and only the odd barracuda going out there. And I think, considering the number of orcas we've seen, and the amount of air that both players have, probably some barracudas in the mix would be better. Especially as this air force is almost all fighters.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what the game plan is here. There's this huge row of air factories queued up as well. So Kiwi's trying to go for quite a diverse composition for his army, I feel here. I would like to see him looking at those in T2 soon.
Well, I think with both players stalling really hard, I think going into T2 could be... I mean, we've seen often that the go to T2 has been a mistake that's cost someone the game, simply because they just can't afford the transition. And it doesn't look to me like either player right now can afford to make that transition to T2. If you want to go T2 naval, you're better off doing it early as a really aggressive rush before your opponent's got enough forces in the water to come and punish you for doing it. And I think right now, if either one of them did it, then the other one's T1 Navy's just going to roll over them.
Agreed.
We see Master now just starting to make a final push to sweep up the last of Kiwi's base. Not going to be as good for him as it would have been if he'd done it earlier, before the energy was rebuilt. But still, he's getting him pushed off the land, and now all of that is going to belong to Master.
And it does give him... He's going to get rid of a few little bits in the water here as well. It's not much, but it's something. But in the meantime, he has actually lost a lot of units to do this. Those orcas have been sat there pummeling them pretty confidently. I don't feel like that's a fantastic thing for him in terms of metal trade.
I think he's once he's got him off the land, he's
although Kiwi is now stalling on power, so actually that has had an effect. Quite an effect as well.
That's a massive stolen power as well.
What's he done?
That feels like he started. Yeah, it feels like he must be doing something somewhere that's suddenly costing a lot of energy.
And this is where we find out there's a nuke just kicking around somewhere.
That would be some really poor casting if we'd missed the T2 transition into nukes. I don't think we're going to be seeing that, especially not on a map as spread out. Nukes are best used when there's a strong concentration of metal in particular areas, or on interplanetary maps where you need a way to get beachheads. We're not going to see a nuke here. Kiwi looks like he's just starting to get slightly the better of it on the naval front, but on the other hand, Master now, his proxy base on the back has looks like it's
succumbed
kicked,
a little bit.
looks like it's kicked Kiwi out of this area, and it's not going to be good for Kiwi. He's really reliant on this sort of thing for his economy.
I feel like
Pommel Force will last either.
I feel like that power gen attack may have been a lot more powerful than we gave it credit for, actually.
Yeah, maybe it looked like his economy was doing okay, but it might just be that his factories were between units at the time. Certainly, he's struggling now, whereas Master's got his economy under control, floating a lot of energy. But he's got his economy under control. He's starting to take out this this proxy base at the rear here. That's gonna really hurt Kiwi. He needs all the metal he can get now that he doesn't have the main island.
I feel like Kiwi's on the back foot right now, very much so.
Yeah, he's lagging in factories, lagging in units, and his economy is lagging behind. He's gonna have to come up with something. He's gonna have to change something up somewhere. I see that Master's starting to commit more units to the air.
Although a lot of Master's naval makeup is narwhals as opposed to orcas, so he's not actually able to make some very favourable trades in naval fights.
No, he doesn't have quite the same. But you see him putting more barracudas out in the field now as well. So those are going to start picking up these orcas.
Yeah. They are quite brutal against the orcas as well.
Now we see part of that Kiwi's setting up a defensive line here. Part of that's gone down, and we see that Master's already sending in a second fleet now. I think he's gonna might be able to. Oh no, he's withdrawing for that. I thought perhaps he's going to pick up a win there. We see some nice docks raiding from Kiwi as well around the back of Master's base, where he's just sniping a few mechs there, helping give himself an edge. And meanwhile, Master is now transitioning to tier 2.
Is he now? So he
In fact, both players are. Kiwi slightly ahead as well, also transitioning to tier 2. But I don't think he can afford that transition. I mean, he's running at 42% efficiency, whereas Master is transitioning to tier 2, and he's
really got nearly a 100 metal advantage at this point.
And he's barely stalling out during this this transition. I think Kiwi feels like he has to get into tier 2 because he can't hold his spread out metal anymore. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like he can afford to do this.
He's in quite an awkward situation. Again, with a 100 metal lead like this, I feel we might be looking at sort of him trying to get into, although it's very difficult to pull off on this map in particular, snipe territory. He's got only 2 of those promised dozen or so air factories he's looking to get queued up, so he's not able to produce as many bombers as he need to pull that off. Yeah,
I think Master's gone all fighters with his air force. He's not going to be letting himself get sniped again by the looks of it. He's not bothered with a single bomber. I think he's going to push with his navy, and he's just going to clean up like that. And to be quite honest, I think that's a really sensible approach.
I find it interesting the difference between naval and land-based T2. I find that people seem to be much more willing to go T2 on naval than they are for land units. I'm not quite sure what that is.
I think it's partly in terms of speed of naval units, in that there's a greater window where you can transition, and it's harder for your opponent to react to you transitioning. And also that tier 2 naval is just so powerful. A single Leviathan can tip the balance of a fight in the way that building a sheller just isn't going to do.
A large naval force looks like it's about to try and push in and put some pressure on this T2 naval factory now if that decides to go in the end, which it is now doing, heading straight towards making a beeline for that T2 naval factory.
Yeah, I think Master's just slowly starting to put the clamps on now. He's coming around the back as well, locking it down. He's limiting Kiwi's options for breaking out of this. It hasn't quite got enough forces yet to win this, and we see that this tier 2 Fab's coming in. If he can manage to keep that alive, then that could help him get back into this. But it's
he needs it to stay alive first. That's the trouble. And these ships are not gonna give him an easy time doing that.
Yeah, Master's really starting to close the gap, and meanwhile getting up his own tier 2 eco as well.
And continuing to put pressure on to destroy Kiwi's own production. I think Kiwi's called this already. Yeah,
he's realising this is over. He's getting close on all sides. I think. I think he's right. I don't see him back. He hasn't worn down Master's commander this time, and he doesn't have the bombers to go in there and pull off this snipe. I don't see how he's going to get back into this game.
That said, I mean, Master has given away some fairly easy raiding. This island in particular, he could easily just gone through the couple of bombers and picked all that off. He's ignored that, which I think was a bit of a mistake on his part. That said, he doesn't really need to at this point.
Well, that said, there's a docks force just heading over to that island now, and he's about to go take out every single one of those metal extractors and probably those air fabbers.
Yep.
So that's that island is now doomed, and we see Kiwi starting to make a last stand with his commander to hold the line.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, I think he's buying some time. I don't know if he's seen the tier 2 that.
There's a Stingray about to be completed from that T2 factory. Although I'm sure by this point Neptunia probably has some T2 of his own. And there's the Leviathan.
Yeah, I don't think Kiwi knows. He hasn't scouted that tier 2 factory. He doesn't know that Master's gone tier 2.
He's gonna get a nasty surprise in a minute when the shells start flying.
Yeah, he's gone for the Stingray. That is I think a poor decision. I don't see why he needs the Stingray.
The Stingray is actually a good counter to a Leviathan.
No. What? No.
Well, because it's got longer range, is it not?
No. The Leviathan's got the Stingray's got tiny range. It got reduced ages ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Stingray is primarily an anti-air, and it's not even particularly great at that either. I would say a Kraken or a Leviathan are both better choice than Stingray. The Stingray is only if there's a really heavy air presence you got to defend against. Even
I thought it had some rather nice. I thought it had some rather nice tactical missiles in it.
It has tactical missiles, but the range on them is less than its line of sight. I think it's pretty pitiful.
That is pitiful. I'm sure it was longer than that. I don't know when that changed.
Oh, it used to be a long time ago, and then it got dramatically reduced.
Okay, Stingray was a mistake. I concede your point.
But yeah, I think he's worried about the air. But he doesn't need to be, because there's no bombers in that mix, so it's just a lot of fighters flying around. So unless he's intending to try and defend his own fighters with the Stingray, but yeah.
And there comes the Leviathan shots, and he's probably just seen that and thought, "Ruh-roh."
Yeah, that's the sign that your time has come. I'm afraid, Kiwi.
The commander now being pelted there by those shells.
He gave up the land with some very strange boom decisions, and then he just didn't use his advantage fast enough.
He says he's never lost on Miso.
Well, I would like to know what he was doing with the booms. Master calling it the way that only Master can.
The trash talking is real.
Yeah, absolutely. Master getting cocky now that he's claimed his first victory of the final, taking it 2-1 to Kiwi still.
But he's still on a sudden death mode. If Master loses any of the remaining matches in this, then he is relegated to second place.
Yes, it still could be Kiwi's. He only has to win one game. Master still has to win 2. So it's still going to be a tight one. But let's have a quick look at this game. See what went on here. Very unorthodox opening from Kiwi. I have never seen this opening before.
Very strange, wasn't it?
It was. The boom thing was interesting, but it didn't feel like he did a lot with them. I don't know if his plan was just to try and buy time on the island, and then own the sea by the time that Master had taken the land. But whatever it was he was trying to do, it didn't pay off at all.
No.
He got a really nice confrontation at first with some tanks, but then after that, he didn't get the wins. He didn't get the wins he needed at all, and just let Master complete take his half of the island and then fortify it. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there.
It's just a very strange set of plays there. He did have good control of the rest of the map. He still could have pulled that off, but then he just didn't keep it fortified, and Master just kept on, whittling it down.
Yeah, and he just got driven off into the sea. Once again, I think giving up the island is just it's giving up the island that easily. It's just too big a mistake, and players that do it it never ends well for them. Well, eventually he'd beat Aladea, but I feel that was Aladea losing the game rather than him winning the game. I cannot fathom what he was attempting to do with those booms. I really can't. Especially with the commanders wading into the water as they often do on this map. So it didn't seem like a snipe was going to happen. He'd been better off just going mass docks and picking off these fabbers and really taking the fight to Master and stopping him from just expanding across this island. And then the docks afterwards could have been used to go and raid other islands later on. It's just I really want to know his thought process there.
He's in the Twitch chat at the moment. He says it was my only chance to win. I think he was a bit intimidated by playing Master on that map. I think he maybe let that get the better of him. I think he may have had a minor psychological disadvantage on that.
Well, Master's a pretty intimidating guy. I mean,
He is.
It's clearly he's losing in the psychological war that Master is raging on him in the chat. But yeah, it felt for a moment there in the mid game that perhaps Kiwi had a chance. He had his economy spread out across the map, but Master's got back into the water and really could just focus all of his resources on building up a navy to match Kiwi, because there was nothing to contest him on the land. I'm a bit surprised really how easily players have given up the island on Miso. I'm used to seeing much harder fought battles on the land and much smaller presences in the water.